Correspondent Sally Farhat. Sally, thanks for being with us. Now, can you expand on today's comments from the government, the fact that they're not going to step in when it comes to this inquiry, its judgment? What does this mean for the ongoing official investigation of that fatal blast?
Clearly, today's statements contradict positively with the history of Lebanon when it comes to its justice system that has always reflected historically the political interests of different parties, and the investigations into different assassinations over the years have led nowhere. So today's statement shows a clear distinction of power and separation of power, which is important for any investigation, basically to take a lead and to lead somewhere in general, which is what the families of the victims from the Beirut blast call for and support. Also, in its turn, the Lebanese Judges Association released a statement yesterday saying that the Lebanese justice system has said its word and refused dismissing Judge Tariq Bitar from his position previously. And accordingly, they stressed on the importance that no one should stand in the way of this investigation, which is something that also today was reflected in Prime Minister Najib Miate's statement. So hopefully this persists, and if this persists, the investigation has more hope of leading somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back to that protest on Thursday that killed 7 people, that was taking aim at Judge Tariq Bitar, accusing him of political bias. And those accusations came from Hezbollah, a Shiite movement. But the group itself has also been accused of using underhand methods to advance their agenda. Can you tell us more about that?
So what seemed strange was yesterday a release of a video showing Brahim Htet, who is the spokesperson of the families of the victims in Lebanon, reading a written statement or a script and asking Judge Tariq Bitar to leave his position. The reasons for the release of this video remain unknown. However, there are claims that Htet was under threat and was forced to do this video, particularly by Hezbollah. And those who support this claim say it because of 3 main factors. One, his facial expressions in the video showed fear. So he wasn't relaxed when he was doing this video. It showed threat, and it showed that he was forced to do it. 2, his statements within this video contradicted with previous statements he did where he supported Judge Tariq Bitar. And 3, some of the words he used were those used by Hezbollah in attacking the credibility of Judge Tariq Bitar, including describing him as biased and politicizing the investigation, among others. So this video was clearly condemned by the families of the victims, who asked people not to share it, and also supported the claims that says Htet was under threat when he released it. However, clearly there are still speculations into this, and clearly the families of the victims completely say that he was definitely under threat, because this is not something they believe that Htet would say just to say, basically.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at the situation a bit more globally, the country's in an extremely delicate position economically, politically. What is the next step for the Lebanese government?
The government has a very long way to go to help Lebanon stand back on its feet. And this is something that was clear since the moment the government took on its new role. So the country's financial and economic crises are clearly very deep. What the government needs to do is basically 2 plans that it has on its agenda, but it needs to start working towards. One is to revive the talks with IMF. And to do this, the government needs to find an agreement locally on a political level. This is something that Prime Minister Najib Miate has said. For Lebanon to resume talks with IMF, they need to find political solutions locally, and it seems that locally politics is still largely not on the same page. Politicians are not on the same page in this regard. And 2, the other most important also factor is for the government to take on and lead the next elections, which are set to take place in 2022. And again, for the elections to take place, the security situation of the country needs to be better than it is. So again, Thursday's clashes are signs that the security situation in the country is horrible. And this situation is by no means a place for elections to take place. Thus, why the government also needs to work on the security level in order to ensure that it's safe for Lebanon to conduct its elections next year. So these are the 2 main plans, but there are steps that the government needs to work towards in order to ensure that these steps can be completed.
Thank you very much for that update. Sally Farhat reporting for us there from Beirut. Next to Afghanistan.